Hold up.
Hey SMU crew, today we're going to talk about organic B2B strategies. Now, just so you know, business to business is completely different. Why is that? Well, because it's business to business, you're not necessarily marketing based on just emotions. There's a lot of logic that comes into play. It's a little bit of a different ballgame. So B2B stands for business to business, which means it's not necessarily consumers. It's more one person who's making a decision on behalf of a company, on behalf of their bottom line, their goals, their alignment, and what is decided by a lot of people, not just one. So it's a totally different way of marketing. Now, I want to real fast say this does not include solopreneurs, freelancers, or tiny companies. When we talk about B2B, most often it means companies that are at least 5, 10, 15 employees. Now, there are some B2B companies that are smaller than that size, but for the most part, when you're still mostly dealing with the CEO, who is also the founder, who is also the receptionist, that's not the type of B2B that we're talking about today. We're talking about companies that have departments and teams and are growing quickly, because that's what a B2B's goal is. Now, traditional channels for B2B will get crickets. Anyone who's ever done a marketing campaign on Facebook or on Pinterest for a business to business company has probably seen it's painful. I mean, you can post, you can engage, you can entertain, you can educate on Facebook and say, oh my gosh, nothing is happening. Instagram, not a chance. I'm going to share with you a couple of examples of what are business to business companies. There's a lot of different companies that fall into the business to business umbrella, or B2B as we like to call it, but some that you're going to come across often include software companies, business services, and products for the workplace. Of course, other things like consulting or manufacturing or brokerage all come into this equation, but I consider them kind of under business services. Now, there are two major ways that I dive into B2B. First and foremost, I look where their market hangs out and I research the competition, but not just any old research. I'm going to show you guys my laser proof method for researching competition of my B2B clients. Now, before you begin working with a B2B company, be certain that their goals are incredibly clear. On the discovery call, you want to make sure that you really understand and listen to what they are saying, because if they're talking constantly about sales and their only concept of success is sales and mostly leads, you don't want to use traditional social media. You're going to want to focus on Facebook ads and funnels and things that really move the needle, and chances are they actually need an in-house sales team. If they're talking about leads, sales, and ROI, organic social media is probably not the main place that you want to focus. So let's dive on in. Where do we look for their market? Well, first and foremost, there are three major platforms for business-to-business companies that their market is hanging out on. I want you to imagine when a COO of a company or a CMO needs a solution. What are they going to do? They're going to research online. They're going to look on LinkedIn. They're going to look on YouTube. They're going to look on Twitter. They're not necessarily going to be browsing Instagram to see if there's a visually appealing product to purchase. So let's dive on into what that looks like. Twitter. You're going to want to use Twitter for education and entertainment. Support your client in creating engaging posts, aka tweets, and sharing industry breaking news. This is a place to actually man a lot of customer service and to reply to comments and tweets that you see from people in the industry. So you can search for hashtags that are relevant to that industry and actually begin conversation in that way. The 5 days to Twitter growth is also a great way to really explode the Twitter following of your B2B clients' Twitters. Now, LinkedIn is a lead gen platform, but it's direct and indirect. For example, you could reach out to companies. Think the 10 days to 1K for your clients. And as weird as this is, you're going to tell the story of the company through the profiles of the major players within the company. So, for example, when I say like stack your wins, or I tell the story behind why a company was founded, the same principles apply on LinkedIn profiles for B2B companies. Now, YouTube is a little bit different in that you want to focus on education and entertainment. For the most part, your job is going to be to direct the strategy for content creation and then ultimately optimizing every single video that goes on YouTube and managing the posting schedule. Now, my second favorite way to really focus on growth for B2B companies with organic social media is to research the competition. We're going to dive into exactly what that looks like because my method is unlike anyone else's and it works so well. Now, when I want to research competition for my clients, I go to none other than the Inc. 5000 of that year. The Inc. 5000 is a ranking of the fastest growing private companies in America. And even if your client is outside of the United States, this is a great place to learn a lot. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and dive on into the list. You can see there's so many great companies here, and your job is going to be to find companies that are similar to your client's company. Once you find one, let's say for example, Rockhammer Talent Solutions, which of course is an HR related company that is in the B2B space. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the website of the talent that you found, the Inc. 5000 company that you found that is in a similar space. And if you look, you can see that their websites look a little bit different, but down here are the social icons that they are using. Now here's what's kind of crazy, okay? So first and foremost, we're going to look at Twitter. Now here's what's crazy. They're not even doing that great of a job with Twitter. There's a huge opportunity that's being missed here, but they're still getting engagement, which is really interesting. This would be a company that I would recommend pitching and actually offering to use their Twitter to really grow their following. Of course, that means there must be other platforms that they're killing it on. So if we look up Rockhammer Talent Solutions, they have 3,100 followers on LinkedIn. And of course, if you search for Rockhammer Talent Solutions on LinkedIn, you may find pretty quickly that all of their major players are on LinkedIn. I'm not friends with any of them, but let's take a look at what some of them are doing. So it looks like they're pretty active. Their profiles are filled out. They're getting recommendations, and they're a part of interests and groups that relate to their industry. So they're using LinkedIn probably to its fullest potential. Another place that's really interesting to look as well is Facebook. I shared with you that traditional business-to-business companies don't do well on Facebook. As you can see, they only have 81 followers on Facebook. And we see some pretty much crickets, not really any posts. But yet, they're one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in all of America. Kind of crazy, right? Now, what I want to share with you to take away from this is that you can honestly work with your clients on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube and have massive success. But I really don't recommend diving into Instagram, Pinterest, or really Facebook unless you're using Facebook ads to try to get massive success for your clients. And that was SMU Organic B2B Strategies. I hope you have loved this training. Go on over to the Facebook group and share with us what you learned and how you're going to apply it.